everyone. I've been studying spiritual formation, the ecology of my group of people that I am mentoring and that are part of my community. And to start off with, this has been a very challenging assignment because I am not a traditional church. I am not a traditional pastor. Most of my business experience was out in the real business world. So I'm going to give you my community and how I judge spiritual growth and formation. And to begin with, we're going to start with Hosea 4:6 in the King James Version. My people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge. I have found that often the difficulty that people have is we were created a spirit, soul, and body, and they get confused. Although it's all interconnected, really spiritual formation is about forming your spirit and not really, it will affect your soul, your mind, will, and emotions, and it will affect your body, but it's a spiritual thing because God is spirit and truth. So I want to show you a little clip that will give you an idea of how the world tends to judge things.
You're about to meet Michael. He lives fast as a self-made millionaire.
You didn't have to dress up. It's all right.
You're going to photograph Michael. He's actually saved somebody's life. Michael is an ex-inmate. He's a commercial fisherman. Michael claims to be psychic.
Nice to meet you.
Michael's a former alcoholic. Here's your camera. I would like you to flesh out the essence of who he is.
What would you like out of this? What would you like the photograph to say about you?
Do you find that being a psychic impacts much on your day-to-day life?
I can see this is emotional for you.
Like to get to know the person.
You've only got 10 minutes, right?
I think you're a guy that's put yourself out there. You're not hiding anything. My plan was to find out about whoever it was and to try and get that. And what I learned from him is he's incredibly brave.
It was really intense. Pull this shirt out. Sorry.
I wanted to see the nature of the person, which then present a challenge. How do you portray him as a fisherman?
That's perfect.
He's a self-made millionaire and sort of a little bit intimidating. I wasn't going for a beautiful, nice, perfectly lit portrait.
I just want to try bring out something of who you are. I think that you just treat people like the everyday people, like everybody is.
Pleasure. Thank
you.
you so much.
Well, I hope I've got that guy's bravery on film.
So it was a very intimidating environment.
Can't see your work.
I like the empty chair next to it too.
Like, he's just a totally different person.
Almost looks like 6 different people. So not everything I told you today was true. I'm not a fisherman. I am not an alcoholic. The GFC hit me hard, but I've never been a millionaire. I've never been in prison. I am a Bondi lifesaver, but the story we talked about never did happen. Not psychic. Can barely spell it.
Before I knew there were different characters in each of these, I thought, that's really strange. These don't look like portraits of the character I thought you were. You always got your own preconceptions and you've got your ideas.
It pushed me into a position and a space that I wouldn't normally be in.
You have to dig a lot deeper. It means you've got to be, I think you're a lot more creative to work out how you're going to play things.
As you could see, it looked like there were actually 6 different men there because they were judging him from a soulish realm. But I wanted to say that in 1 Samuel 16:7, it says, "Do not look at his appearance or his physical stature, because I have refused him. For the Lord does not see a man as a God." Well, I'll start over. "For the Lord does not see as a man sees. For man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. And so I think that's the key when we're doing our spiritual assessment, that if we look at Paul, he is judging their spiritual reality, not really a physical thing. Like he said, I died with Christ and I'm no longer under the law. I'm redeemed from the curse. So to do this analysis of my group, which in a little bit I'll show you really what my world consists of, I did a fruit of the spirit chart, because unlike the examples that we were given in the class, I found that it would be hard to know if people are spiritually growing. For example, one question was, do you attend church regularly? And you might put a 4 because you're there every week. But that doesn't tell me whether you're spiritually growing or not, because you could be attending and really looking on your cell phone. So I thought what it says in the Bible is you can tell if people are growing by the fruit of the Spirit. So you might question the people, are you walking in love? Are you walking as a baby or as an adult? Are you full of joy like a baby, or are you joyous when things get tough? So I find that's a better way of judging people. But I think with my group, because a lot of our stuff that we do comes from online. We teach a class every week. We have for a number of years. But I'm also involved in a church. I have a Bible study at my home. And it's kind of interesting. One group of people that began to attend came because one of them was ill and got prayed for and got healed. And that's kind of the example that Jesus and the Apostle Paul teaches. They taught, they performed miracles, and then they transformed people into disciples. And so that is kind of the model I try to follow. So we prayed for this person and it changed their life. Now you go, oh, are they a new Christian? No, they had been a Christian for years. One of them had attended a parochial school, was raised Catholic. The other was Methodist, and when they married, they went to a Methodist church, but they had never really been taught that it's God's will to heal everyone. And upon learning that, they asked, you have a Bible study, and they started to attend, and they realized they didn't know a lot of things about the Holy Spirit. And then they learned about speaking in tongues and started to speak in tongues, because that's really what Jesus did at the end of Mark 16, 15 through 18. He said, be born again, and then the believers will go lay hands on the sick, they'll recover, they'll cast out demons, they'll speak with new tongues. It gives us instructions on what to do. And if we look at Paul, he followed those instructions. Yes, he gave instructions that in the church you only do 2 or 3 things in tongues and have it interpreted, but in his private life, to edify himself, he spoke more than ye all. So that's what you want to do. But to define my community, it's kind of a bit harder, because my community is the world. For example, this last year I helped in a documentary. I'll show you this. This is Shining City Media presents A Light in the Darkness. The Hollywood Cross turns 100 years old. And this was done in conjunction with Billy Graham Ministry. So we worked as a team, and I do think there's reciprocation, and we influence each other, and that's a positive thing. But as far as really being with these people continually, no. But I'm an intercessor, so I did pray about the movie and prayed that it would go well. And you might say, well, why are you attached to the Hollywood movie? Well, my great-grandfather is the father of Hollywood. So I have written the book, The Father of Hollywood. It's his life story. And I've gone to speak at the Chamber of Commerce in Hollywood. I've been to the Academy Awards. I've been on television around the world. And the whole world is really our community. We should be gospelers. And a gospeler is someone who, when you're in the grocery store and you have a chance, you tell about the gospel. When you go to the doctor's office, you tell about it. When you're at your children's school, you tell about it. For example, The Life of Hollywood is the story of our dog. She was a rescue dog, and she's connected with Hollywood because randomly she was born on my great-grandfather's birthday, and so she tells the story of her life and getting a purpose. So we are going to go this year, for example, in January to a third grade classroom with the dog and tell the story of Hollywood. And part of the story of Hollywood is the name was given by my great-grandparents. The holly represents England, and the England holly represents the crown of Jesus, the thorn and the berries. And the wood is for Scotland, which is the cross, because my great-grandfather was English-Scottish. So that's a little trivia for the story. My book, Not Alone, is a parody of the story of Job. There's an Audible. I put it out on our website. People can listen for free. We've sent out copies. I've done book signings. So you can see, really, the world is our community, and we need to pray for the world. We need to have relationship with the world. We need to be out in the world. We also attend a church, and we have gone to classes to study the Bible. We're in an empty nester group. We've gone, as we showed, I think in one of our threads, we done chili cook-offs that involve the whole community. So I would say, be like Paul, be like Jesus. Go reach the world, change the world, be a gospeler. And also, one additional thing I learned when we were listening, I believe it was to a video with Thompson, Dr. Thompson. He said to spend time in your word. So I think we have to study the word, because like Jesus went off for the 40 days to be alone with the Holy Spirit and be taught. And we know Paul went off for several years to learn. And then we come back, we teach, we perform miracles, we make disciples, we speak in tongues and get the direction from the Holy Spirit, because I kind of think you can't judge that just because a person attends church every week, they're growing, or that they work in the children's ministry, they're going. The Holy Spirit will know and help you give information to these people, teach them to have them grow. Since all of you, I believe, are pastors, I'm praying that you will teach your congregation the full word of God, where you lay hands on the sick and you watch people we've done that. People have been healed of cancer. We've had people's finances change. We've had people who were told by doctors they couldn't have children, and they now have children that are in junior high. So I would say, go out and be a gospeler and change your world.